Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to episode 212 of the Sticks in the Six podcast. As always, I'm your host, Andrew Forbes, here with my co-host, Peter Baracchini. And Peter, we've had a decent week from a Leaf standpoint. Decent week. Start kicking off the season and getting things rolling a little bit, more. Yeah, let's call it average. I mean, like we said, the Atlantic's going to be a tougher division this year, but the Leafs are looking okay so far.
Mm-hmm.
But we will get into that in just a sec. Before we get into all the fun hockey talk, how you doing this week, buddy?
Doing great, yeah. Like you mentioned, I'm just glad hockey's back, and there's no shortage of topics right now with the Leafs because there's still a lot of what-if scenarios going on with this team right now. Like, as we mentioned off the top of the show, 4 games in, kind of average at this point. Obviously, there's a big turnaround, a lot of new faces, a lot of chemistry still being formed, and we're going to get into a lot of those players right now too, but yeah, it just kind of feels like there are some positives, but it's just like a few question marks, what ifs here and there, or what could come about with this team, because we still don't know a whole lot about this point about, we know their identity of being a little bit more in your face, a little bit more physical, north-south style, still having that skill effect, but they're still trying to piece everything together right now. So that to me is, I'm not going to put too much stock into 4 games, but it's a learning point for everybody right now.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned, there's going to be a lot of question marks early on in the season. We knew that was going to happen. Beyond that, there's definitely some conversations that need to be had with some of Leafs Nation in terms of some of their opinions, based on Matthews going toe to toe with some of the big guys in the league. So I'll get into that a little bit later because I got a bone to pick with some of Leafs Nation.
Yeah. It seems like, I was about to say, it seems like a lot of the comments on socials are a little bit more outlandish than usual.
Yeah.
Right now, Is it just me, or are you seeing that as well?
No, it's definitely like missing Marner syndrome, where they just have somebody else. They need somebody else to pick on, I think.
Yeah.
So
you can't do that now.
Yeah, that's right.
Can't do that.
Voice of the Fans Canada. Make sure you check out their show as well. Happy Thanksgiving, boys. I'm just thankful what happened this week happened in October for the Leafs, and it didn't happen in April. Absolutely. It's still early on. I know we talk about every single game counts, even early in the season, in the most difficult division in all of hockey right now. But yes, you're right. It's still early. We aren't going to overreact. Maybe in April we'll look back at this and be like, what could have been if only we won one more of those early games, but we're not going to do that right now. But in saying that,
I always have a rule. I tend to form more of an opinion about this team 10, 15 games in. You at least have a bigger sample size. You're at least about a month in. You could kind of get a feel of where they're at, what needs to be improved upon, and even heading into American Thanksgiving too. That's always a sticking point for playoff pictures, because I've seen broadcast do stats and everything like that. If they're already in a playoff picture at that point, chances are they will still maintain that position. But anything can happen.
That's kind of the measuring point, right? That and Christmas, and I mean, even then we saw St. Louis in last place at Christmas a few years back, and they went on to win the Cup. So anything can happen.
Last year too.
Yeah, anything can happen. We're not going to overreact. But thank you for reminding me. Big shout out to all our Canadian listeners and fans. Yes. Happy Thanksgiving. We had a taco Thanksgiving this past weekend.
Ooh.
Taco Thanksgiving. Forget the turkey. We had like pulled chicken. We had refried beans. We had avocado. We had guacamole. We had the whole 10 yards.
Got a full spread there.
It was a change, but it was quite enjoyable. It was really good. The kids loved it, so we had a good time. We also had a turkey dinner at my parents, so we got a little bit of everything. So
nice.
Anyways, we're gonna get into some hockey talk. We're gonna kick it off though with Easton Cowan, because there was a lot of hype around this kid coming in early in the season. Obviously, there was a lot of speculation that he was going to be there. Then he gets sent down right before they open the season just to be called back up and scratched for game 1. And then obviously Steven Lorentz gets injured. He gets into the lineup. You're not going to take Calle Yarncroke out right now because that guy's 3 goals in.
Maple Leafs goal leader.
Maple Leafs goal leader. So that all of that considered, 2 games into his NHL career, he's got 1 point, a pretty nice assist in the neutral zone, albeit a secondary assist. But what are your thoughts on Easton Cowan thus far?
Yeah, I think that they, like Berube said, they had a plan with him from the very beginning. And even during in the preseason too, you started to get the sense that even though the points weren't as consistent, he was productive at points. It was more so his play in the offensive zone, neutral zone, play away from the puck, generating opportunities, transitional play. Those are the factors that would keep Easton Cowan in the lineup. And lo and behold, it was because of a result of injuries, but he managed to get in regardless because of Steven Lorentz. And we all thought that maybe, he would see bottom 6, time right away. No, Berube felt confident enough to put him right on the top unit with Matthews and Nyes. And to me, that is a testament to how well he has produced and how well, Berube could feel confident in his play and trust him to be or play well with those guys on the top line, especially one of the top players in the league in Auston Matthews. And even looking at the, some of the numbers right now too, that line itself of Nyes, Matthews, and Cowan, limited minutes, 2 games, but they have a decent, shot attempts percentage with 58.5%. And this is from moneypuck.com. The goals, still a little bit, misskewed and everything like that. They've only been on for 1 goal together. But even looking at the expected goals for, that line is 13th overall in the league at 68.4% with minimum 20 minutes together. And they played 21 minutes together right now. So there's something right there. And especially with Easton Cowan's play, obviously you have the finisher in Auston Matthews. You have the guy that can do the legwork and grind it down low in Matthew Nyes and even along the boards and in front of the net. You have that playmaker in Cowan, but you have a lot more, and you have that, as, everyone's calling him, a dog with a bone mentality. This guy hounds pucks. This guy will do whatever it takes to regain possession. And you see that with his positional play. You see him intercepting that puck, leading to that Matthews goal last night. And they didn't, score against the Detroit Red Wings, but I thought they did, or they had really great chemistry right from the start too. I mean, Matthews, we thought that Cowan would have had his first point on that Auston Matthews breakaway, and that would have been something as well. So, he makes a really nice play to, bring Matthews on that breakaway. And he created that nice give and go play yesterday as well against the Nashville Predators. So I feel like there's something there with this line. Again, we should temper our expectations. We're not expecting a 50, 60-point campaign with Cowan on that top line. There's going to be points where it will work and he's going to get pushed down the lineup. Someone else is going to get promoted up. It's the thing that happens with rookies in the league. But he is basically, again, I hate to bring up Mitch Marner in this situation, but he's Mitch Marner in the sense that he can be a little bit more in your face and tenacious. Mitch Marner was never in your face and tenacious. Cowan is, and I think that's what's going to separate him and everyone else in that lineup right now for him to be on that top line.
Yeah, he's got that little bit of a grinder mentality, right? Like he's going to get into the dirty areas. We've seen it. He's taken a few hits. Obviously, the Ben Sherratt cross check to the facial area, no call. And then
wasn't
of course
calling
the
Weisblatt one. That to me should have been a little bit
from
more.
Weisblatt. Yeah. So he's getting under the skin of his opponents, which is exactly what you want to do, right? Like you want this guy to go out there, you want him to feel at home, to play his game the same way he played in London. He was this tenacious player that just got after it, and I mean, obviously you're not going to get anything different from his teammates, but he's got nothing but appraisal from both head coach and teammates about the way that he plays the game, the way that he stays focused. I would argue over the last 2 games he's been one of the best players on the Leafs, which is saying a bunch because
saying a lot. Yeah.
let's not forget Matthews has 15 scoring opportunities, I believe, this season, which leads the league. So, yeah, it's crazy to think that this kid's going to come in here and be, like you said, a 60, 70 point guy. But I mean, there's certainly a possibility that once he gets going, once he feels comfortable, that he could potentially be a 50 point guy, and that could go a long way in helping fill that bridge between what was once a Mitch Marner line to now possibly an Easton Cowan line. So it's been good to watch him play. Obviously, the assist goes a long way in helping him kind of build that confidence as well, and gets that monkey off your back as well. So big moment for him. And what I loved the most was as soon as after Matthews pointed to Nyes on that goal and said,
right to him.
Great pass, goes right back to Easton Cowan. So these guys know, right? These guys know what it means to get that monkey off your back.
They're clicking too, and the fact that they are making him feel comfortable on that line just improves Cowan's confidence as well. Like, as a player, you have to feel good that, you're already smiling, you're already getting or creating that chemistry with them. And that to me is huge, especially for a young player that's like over, everyone thought that maybe sometime in the minors to start off would help, and it definitely would, but Cowan's faring very well this early on. I know it's 2 games, and I know we shouldn't put too much stock into it. We need a bigger sample size, and I'm literally going to be writing about Cowan's play on the top line. Just, want to get a game or 2 more in before I do start writing that. You have to be impressed right now. There's no way, and even if they're like 4 or 5 games, he's still up, because I know Fraser Minton got that treatment, and then he got sent down last year. Cowan stays beyond that. You're looking at a guy that's going to be relied on heavily this year.
If he stays beyond that, there's a move coming, right? Like there's a lot of conversation. We're going to get into it a little bit here, but there's a lot of conversation around some of the players and the idea of moving them out, and Brad Treliving still looking for that top 6 forward option. So, if he stays beyond that 9 games, which at this point, like judging by the 2 games that he's had, I don't see why you wouldn't keep him. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for him beyond that 9 games if, in fact, he stays. We should mention, too, like the Atlantic Division right now. We talked about in our preseason show about how tough this division's going to be. Mm-hmm. Gary Kay brings up a good point. The biggest issue early on so far is losing points to divisional opponents. Obviously, you're talking about the Detroit Red Wings.
They lost 4.
Terrible that they lost 4 points to the Detroit Red Wings. That said, right now, I mean, you've got the Red Wings. All 4 of their points have come against the Maple Leafs, are sitting in a wild card spot. The Leafs are sitting in a wild card spot. And you've got Florida, Boston, and Montreal atop the division. We have to remember that Florida is without Barkov for likely the entire year. Tkachuk probably not back for another month and a half. And beyond that, I think right now Boston's overproducing. Like they're coming out a lot better than they have been. I mean, they're one of their top guys right now is Justin Brazeau. He's not going to be consistently atop your points for the season.
One of those teams that may come back down to earth.
Yeah, absolutely. The team that I think is like legit right now is the Montreal Canadiens. They've looked absolutely filthy, but we should also note that the Ottawa Senators right now are in a very tough spot. And this is a team that both you and I believe had in the postseason going into the year. They lose. Obviously, Drake Batherson wasn't there to start the year, missing the first couple games. Now, Brady Tkachuk likely out for more than a month, depending whether he needs surgery or not. That's supposed to come down the pipe today, whether he needs it or not. He's looking for a second opinion. I think the hope is obviously that he doesn't. But this is huge for the Ottawa Senators. Could likely cost them a playoff spot, even this early in the season. So the Atlantic is still kind of an interesting division. Mm-hmm. But like Gary said, I mean, you don't want to lose those points to a team like the Detroit Red Wings when, I mean, realistically on paper, they're not a playoff team.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah. We talked about. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I was just. There was a little bit of a pause there. I didn't know if you wanted me to chime in on that, but I wholeheartedly agree with that. There's nothing else to add to that, basically.
Yeah. Sorry, a little Atlantic mid episode Atlantic breakdown kind of gets us going here. But anyways, we did talk a little bit about this idea of fresh starts. If Cowan stays, who goes? Darren Dreger came out just yesterday and mentioned the idea of Nick Robertson open to a fresh start. I mean, this is a conversation we've had since the preseason. This is a conversation we've had last season. He wants more ice time. He wants a principal role on a team that is going to give him that opportunity. The Leafs right now, with the way that Easton Cowan has come in and played, the way that Calle Jarnkrok is playing right now, Nick Robertson is the odd man out when Steven Lorentz comes back. And in saying that, there's speculation, and I'm not going to say that it's actually happening. I don't know. I'm a self-proclaimed outside insider, so I only know what kind of the rumblings of what goes on in this crazy mind here. But there is speculation that Brad Treliving is continuously shopping Nicholas Robertson. What's your take on this? I think you and I are. I'm going to guess we're on the same page that this is likely the end of the road for him with the Maple Leafs at some point this year. I don't believe that he finishes the year with the Toronto Maple Leafs.
See, here's the thing. I thought that he would not be a Toronto Maple Leaf opening roster, and yet here we are still talking about it. But then again, trades are harder to, create and get moving. That's part of the business, actually. But yeah, like you mentioned too, it's best to just burn that bridge, give him another opportunity elsewhere and see what he can do and get a return possibly back as much as you can get at this point. I think when we were initially talking about it, maybe a draft pick or two, if it's a second or a third, whatever, get as much draft capital as you can. Maybe you could use that in a deal elsewhere. But I think that, yeah, it definitely is the best thing right now for both sides. I mean, there's been opportunities for the coaching staff, especially last year too, where Berube said he's going to get every opportunity to succeed. He's given him all this opportunity to succeed, but he's got to do more than just play desperation style hockey in preseason, but translate that to the NHL, because now his spot is definitely in jeopardy of being lost. And let's face it, like you mentioned, Steven Lorentz, when he comes back, you're looking at Dakota Joshua moving back up, and Lorentz is going to be on that fourth line. You're basically not, and even when Scott Laughton comes back too, are you going to play? Robertson can't play center. You're going to have to shift Max Domi back to the wing, and you're going to have, that line of Joshua, Watt, and Domi on the third, and then you will have Lorentz, Laughton, Jarnkrok as that fourth, because Calle Jarnkrok, as we mentioned, he's got 3 goals, but this is why we kind of like that depth scoring right now, where Bobby McMann is stepping up, Jarnkrok is stepping up, who's a veteran, and now with Cowan already on the top line, where essentially that could have been Nick Robertson, just shows that he's fallen out of favor with the team right now, and he's going to be nothing more than a third-line player on the Maple Leafs. Could he be a second-line player elsewhere? Absolutely. But he hasn't shown that on this team, and it's just better to get rid of that. Not to say that it's a distraction, but it's one thing that you need to get rid of because of the fact that it's just going nowhere between both the team and the player. So I get they had a contract. It's cheap to move, but if there's a team willing to pay just a little bit more of what the Maple Leafs are asking, or are they're meeting at an asking price, and it's a good fit for Robertson elsewhere, so be it. I mean, it's got to happen at this point. There's just too many, not necessarily narratives, but the storyline is going to be the same if it goes in the next year. Robertson's going to have a fantastic training camp and then be very, very, kind of in the middle kind of play where he has good moments and he has bad moments. It's just get over it right now.
Consistency, right? Like that's the same conversation we've had with this guy for the last 3 seasons. I mean, you can have a great training camp. You can have a great training camp, but it means nothing if you can't do it in the season, right? So, I mean, it's a conversation that we're going to continually have. I think, like you said, the storyline's drawn out. It's time to move on from this guy, and it's not a testament to him being a poor player. it didn't happen in Toronto for him, and it might happen somewhere else for him. I mean, knowing Leafs history, it likely will happen somewhere else for him. But it's just, it's one of those things that you just got to move on from an asset that just didn't work out, and hopefully he gets an opportunity somewhere else and takes advantage of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's I don't know. I don't know. It'll be tough to see him succeed somewhere else, obviously, because we've been kind of, beating this dead horse for quite some time, but we'll see. I just want to quickly mention before we get into some more Leaf talk, some breaking news. Nick Foligno is taking a leave of absence from the Chicago Blackhawks. It's his daughter's having follow-up surgery for a congenital heart disease, condition. So our thoughts and our thoughts and our prayers go out to Nick Foligno. As for those of you who've listened to this podcast, my son has a bicuspid aortic valve in his heart, so a congenital heart defect. So those things can obviously be very trying, and our thoughts go out to the Foligno family, and hopefully all goes well, and she's up and getting back after it in very short time here. So thoughts out to the Foligno family. I want to talk a little bit about penalties drawn, and I know it's so early in the season to have this conversation, but I got to read you off a stat here that I have, and I'm sure you saw it as well. Kevin Papetti on Twitter released these stats. He said the Leafs have never finished in the top half of the league in power play opportunities in the Matthews era. It's early. Obviously, this season is very early. But if you were wondering if things would be different this year, so far the answer is a firm no. So going back to 2016-17, they were ranked 17th in power play opportunities. 17-18, they were 29th. 18-19, they were 31st. 19-20, they were 23rd. Then 21st, then 21st, then 18th, then 25th. Last year, they were 20th in the league. So far this year, I'll give you a guess. So far this year, where do you think they rank?
This is kind of a cop-out because I actually have the whole list and where they are at right now in terms of penalties drawn. They are, again, below the standings. They're 26 or tied for, 25th with the Philadelphia Flyers and other teams. So, yeah.
So take that into account when we talk about, when we as Leaf fans complain about penalties drawn and penalties that should be penalties that aren't called against the Leafs. It's not based on
us just being complaining or complainers.
It's not an inaccurate take in any way. The fact that the Leafs have been this low on the power plays given when you have the talents that you've had, and that includes Marner. Now you've got speed in Easton Cowan and Michelli as well, and you're not getting those opportunities. There is a reason, and I'm not saying it's a full-fledged league-wide conspiracy. I'm saying calls are not being given and consistently called in all games across the league, and that becomes problematic for the officials. It takes us back to the whole idea of post-game press conferences for the officials, whether it be 5 minutes to answer the bell on some of the calls that weren't made or were made, and to go from there. I just wanted to touch on it because I thought it was interesting to note that since Matthews has come into the league, they have not topped 15th in the league. They've not been in the upper half of penalties drawn in the league since Matthews entered the league in 2016-17. So just something worth noting. So in saying that, we talked about Weisblatt's hit on Easton Cowan. We talked about Ben Sherratt's hit on Easton Cowan. A lot of the takes right now online are, well, why didn't the Leafs come to his rescue? Let's call it rescue. And many of which are going after Auston Matthews for not stepping in as the captain and going after a Ben Sherratt or an Ozzy Weisblatt or whatever. And here's my take from this. Your complaints right now about Auston Matthews are that he's not getting it done offensively. Okay? That last year was an off year. He had 33 goals. He's had a history of wrist injuries, shoulder injury, whatever. And now you want him to go into a scuffle and go after some of the toughest players in the league
and re-injure himself.
Possibly re-injure himself, punching a helmet to what? The hit's already been made. The cross-check's already been made. That's why you have guys like Dakota Joshua. That's why you have guys like Simone Benoit. That's why you have
Jake McCabe, Chris Tanev.
Max Domi, Chris Tanev.
Mm-hmm.
Those
Tanev
guys
was the first one to
in.
come to his defense yesterday, too.
Right. So all those people out there that are saying, well, he skated by and shrugged. I want him to skate by and shrug. I don't want him in the mix.
He is.
Sure, he can grab their collar and maybe give him a little bit of a mitt face wash, whatever. But why would you do that when he could easily get popped in the face as well, and then all of a sudden you're down Auston Matthews as well? Mm-hmm. And the complaint, the part that kills me is that there's such a polarizing comparison of complaints to he's not getting it done offensively to he should be entering scuffles and standing up for his players. What do you want? Like, what do you want from this guy that's going to make you happy? Because right now, you have no fucking idea what you want. You have no idea what you're expecting from this guy. Your guy right now he's a captain because he's a 69 goal scorer. He's a guy that's going to probably be let's say top 15 in the league by the time his career is done. Why would you want him to go and punch a helmet to send a message?
How many fights has Connor McDavid been involved in? Or skirmishes has Connor McDavid been involved in?
Let's remember that when Connor McDavid got into a fight just prior to his NHL career, he broke his hand on the glass.
Mm-hmm.
These guys aren't made for fighting. That's not their job.
That was his junior career, right? That was before the World Junior, wasn't it?
That was in Erie, yeah.
Yeah, and there were comments saying about how star players shouldn't be the ones getting involved to fight, and now you want said star. Listen, I'm all for, getting into a skirmish or, getting into the pile and just, giving those, not friendly jabs, but a little sucker punch here and there to, mix things up and everything like that. Fine, everybody does that, But if you just come in, take somebody out and just, hold them down, just grab onto the shoulder, grab onto their jersey. That's all he needs to do. Let him know that he doesn't need to throw a punch. He's not a Brady Tkachuk. He's not going to throw bombs just because something happens that he doesn't like or, whatever, because Brady Tkachuk can have a loose fuse sometimes. But in that instance, we already saw Chris Tanev going in. Why would Auston Matthews go in as well? Maybe Matthews could have just gone in and just given him a little shove too. Fine. Mm-hmm. I'm okay with that. If you're expecting him to fully drop the gloves and get a 5-minute major out of that, that's not Auston Matthews. And you're just basically going to complain that, oh my God, Auston Matthews is injured again. So,
but even if he goes into that scuffle and gives him a shove, there's no saying that a player's not going to. They're going to take full advantage of him going into a scuffle. They see Auston Matthews comes in. What are they going to do?
Yeah.
What are they going to do? They're going to take him off the ice. Your goal is to not have him off the ice. Why would you want him to get in there and potentially take a penalty, potentially get a sucker punch in the chin, potentially there's so many potential outcomes here. Why would you even go down that road? That's the part that's so confusing to me, is that you want him to stand up for his teammates. No problem. But you're going to have to deal with the outcome. And when the outcome is that he gets hurt or he gets a penalty, and all of a sudden you're down a man, then what's your complaint going to be then? And I think we all know the answer to that. So I think people need to take a look in the mirror and check themselves. This is part of the reason why people hate this fan base so much, is because you have no freaking idea what you want from your players. If I want somebody going into that scuffle, I want a Dakota Joshua going in and being able to stand up for the guys. I don't want my 65 goal scorer going in and trying to throw punches. That's just stupid. So, anyways, I need to get it off my chest because I saw it on socials, and I'm like, these guys have no idea what they're asking. They have no idea.
You're basically playing with fire if that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyways, we're talking about Matthew's struggles. Obviously, he's been snake-bitten this year. I mentioned off the top that he's 15 scoring opportunities, I believe, heading into last night. Led the league. Also led the Leafs by more than 9 opportunities. The fact is the chances have been there. He's still shooting at I believe a career high right now, 15%. He's had 20 shots on goal through 4 games, and 3 goals. Obviously, 2 are empty netters. So we're gonna hear about that. Nylander's got the empty netters. We're gonna hear about that.
Goals are goals.
Goals are goals. Goals
Don't
are goals.
matter.
4 points through 4 games. I don't think anybody should be complaining just yet on Auston Matthews' production. It's there. The opportunities are there. You're building new chemistry with new line mates. You haven't even had the same line mates for all 4 games of the start of the season. So, what are your take? What's your take on Auston Matthews so far in his snake-bitten 4 games to this season?
I'd say he's snake-bitten in the sense that the puck is just not going in. Because as we mentioned, he had 1 shot on goal against Montreal, but he followed that up with 6 against the Detroit Red Wings, 8 in the second game, and then 5 last night against the Predators. He's getting the looks, and it's only a matter of time before they start coming in bunches. So to me, it's not the fact that he's not getting the shots, he's not getting the opportunities, he's getting to the spots. It's just a matter of a slight millisecond per second off by a certain angle kind of thing with his shot. It's just not going in. But I'm not all concerned with him because of the looks, because of the opportunities. And let's face it, Cam Talbot going full on Patrick Roy in that game where, Auston Matthews literally could have scored on that breakaway, and 9 times out of 10, he's scoring on that breakaway. Like, let's be realistic. I think that the opportunities are going to come, or the opportunities are going to continue to come. He's opening himself up, and even on the power play too. Don't even get me started, but I think you're starting to see a little bit more persistence in their puck movement and their chances on the power play as well. And if he's open on that one-time spot, you could guarantee that puck's going in. So the power play goals are going to increase. The Maple Leafs power play percentage is going to increase as a result. It's just a matter of tweaking certain aspects of his shots where maybe he's still trying to find his groove, but I'm not at all thinking that he's going to be snake-bitten throughout the whole entire year. I think it's going to come at a point where they need him the most, and he's going to deliver.
Yeah, let me correct this as well. It was at 5-5 prior to last night's game. Auston Matthews is first in the league in scoring chances and second in the league in shot attempts. To further that, he had 17 scoring chances going into last night's game, obviously scoring 2 goals. Second to that going into last night's game was Morgan Rielly with 6. So 11 more scoring chances than any other Leaf. Led the league, obviously, going into last night. So, I mean, the chances are there. And like you said, I was watching that Detroit game, and I said to the people I was watching with, I said, man, they're making Cam Talbot right now look like a Vezina Trophy winner.
Yeah.
Honestly, that's what it looked like. It looked like they were out shooting them 40-15 at one point, down 2-0. Like, the opportunities were there. It's just a matter of they weren't getting the pucks to go past the goaltender. And remember too, like, the power play is brand new, right? Like, you're working with a new set of the Leafs power play up until this year revolved around the possession of the puck by Mitch Marner. Mm-hmm. That's not the case anymore. If you watch the power play, there's so much more movement, so much more puck movement. These guys are moving it around a lot faster. They're trying
Matthews
to make
is the guy at the point now, right beside Rielly.
And Matthews is the guy because he's got that boomer of a clapper that he can play that point position. So all of those things have to be taken into consideration when you look at the way that this season has started. It's 4 games in. The guy's got 3 goals. 2 empty netters. Who cares?
Who cares?
They've won 2 games. The complaints are just this goes back to this whole idea that the Leafs need somebody to complain about. They need somebody to complain about. So, yeah. Anyways, that said, he did get the game winner last night because the Leafs ended up giving up 4 to the Nashville Predators, which was kind of disheartening. Obviously, Caden Primo got his first win as a Leaf, but he got the game winner last night and passes Dave Keon, a legend, for second all-time on the Leafs game-winning goals list, chasing only Matt Sundin, and he's chasing him for total franchise goals as well, only 16 back. So it'll be interesting to see when he's able to attain that. We'll see if it's an empty net or not, but I saw a stat. I saw a fun stat that was he's projecting at a pace of 62 goals for the year, and I believe they said it was like 41 of which were going to be empty netters.
Yeah,
just I think it was James Myrtle, to be honest.
I think it was Myrtle.
Yeah, he's always got that fun little stat tracking. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Of note, Matthew Nyes also recorded his 100th career point. He is the 8th player from the 2021 draft, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
2021 or 2022 maybe.
Regardless, he's the 8th player from his draft to reach the 100-point mark.
Yeah, it is 21.
Yep. 21. So the only player who has done it in fewer games is Dylan Guenther. So pretty impressive for the power forward to get to that 100-point plateau. Definitely something that I think people kind of were interested in the Leafs picking him in that second round spot, but he's lived up to every ounce of that expectation. And I think if you go back and redraft, he's a first round pick. There's no question about it.
I think there was talk that he could have been a first round pick as well. It's just him dealing with COVID and missing a little bit of time kind of put a damper on things. But when you look at that draft too, I mean, Owen Power was the first overall pick, and I know he's a defender, but he hasn't quite lived up to that hype as a top pairing defender. Wyatt Johnson's leading that category. Beniers and McTavish are right behind him. Same with Johnson and Guenther. I mean, the fact that Matthew Nyes is a second round pick, I'm looking at this right now. Only him, Moser, and Stankoven are the only, and Jackson Blake are like the only, later round picks to be in contention with some of the first rounders right there. So that alone is impressive right there.
Yeah, we actually went back and looked at this draft at Thanksgiving the other day because in my keeper league I had Owen Power and I dropped him because I was like, you know what, we do peripherals, we do like hits, block shots, all that stuff. For a guy his size, no peripherals. And the offense just hasn't been there for Buffalo. He's a minus player on a minus team. So I was curious to see what his draft looked like, and we went through it, and it's amazing to see how far Owen Power would likely drop in that 2021 draft based on the players that were available and the players that have come up and had great starts to their NHL career, Matthew Nyes included, right? So, yeah, I mean, the guy's got 6 points so far in through 4 games, really picking up the slack. And how can you complain about this kid who took what I think is going to be an outstanding deal in a few years to be a Toronto Maple Leaf, and said all the right things going in, said he wanted to be a Leaf, stuck with the Leafs, didn't negotiate anywhere else. There was no offer sheets even out there that we know of. And here he is, 100 points into his NHL career. What an outstanding start to a young career for Matty Nyes. Definitely a jersey that I think we got to get up down in the Forbes basement at some point.
Oh yeah, I still find it funny that there were like insiders or reporters suggesting offer sheets for Matthew Nyes, and it's like, did you not read a previous report saying that his agent flat out came out and said they are not entering or entertaining any offer sheets, and you're still talking about offer sheets? It's like the information was already out there. Unless things went haywire, went south very quickly, and someone did present an offer sheet and Matthew Nyes said, see ya, Matthew Knies wanted to get it done. The way that he spoke about the Florida Panther series, even right now, how he was, very candid about his comments about the way they played, shows that this guy really means and he wants to play that exact same style and play to win. So to me, like you said, he's the perfect ideal fit for this team right now, and I envision a letter on him sooner than later.
Yeah, I mean, people were comparing him to Brady Tkachuk last year, and I think the one reason he doesn't get the same kind of level of celebrity is because Brady Tkachuk is the guy in Ottawa, whereas Matthew Knies can kind of play that secondary role in Toronto behind guys like Matthews, Tavares, Nylander. So, I mean, I think ultimately it benefits him to be in that spot with the Toronto Maple Leafs. But yeah, 100 points, pretty darn impressive. Anyways, before we get to the last point here, just a quick word from our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook. Hockey is back, and this season, DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, brings you all the speed, skill, and nonstop action you love. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get paid out $300 in bonus bets instantly. I use DraftKings to get my crowns, and you should too. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN, that's code THPN, to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas. Pass-through of per-wager tax may apply in Illinois. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright NHL 2025. All rights reserved. So finally, last kind of talking point we've got here, Peter, before we close it out, is William Nylander. And again, a lot of people are already all over William Nylander. Slower start. He's typically a slow start type of player. Actually, I should say this isn't our last talking point. We have one more thing I want to get to prior to closing this out, but William Nylander, 7 points through 4 games, 2 goals, 5 assists. The fact that we're even questioning what he's going to do is insane. And just looking at the stats here, I got to correct myself again. Man, I'm on fire today for being misspoken. But Nyes doesn't have 6 assists. He has 1 goal, 5 assists for 6 points. But yeah, Nylander leading the team right now in points through 4 games, and still Craig Berube goes out and says he's not doing what he needs to do. And I think a lot of people took this as, him calling him out and saying like he hasn't been the guy.
He's being lazy. He's going back to the old habits.
But I think it was misunderstood in many ways, right? Like this was Craig Berube saying like this is a 45 goal scorer, like he needs to shoot the puck, and he had what I believe was it 4 shots in 3 games prior to the last night?
Believe so, yes.
It was something insanely low, and we talked about the same.
He had 3 shots in total, 1 versus Montreal, 0 in that game against Detroit, and then 2 more after that, and then 4 against Nashville.
So averaging a shot a game going into the 4th game as a 45 goal scorer, not good enough.
Yeah,
we had the same conversation last year with him. We talked about how much he needs to shoot. And he came out afterwards and said, I'm generally a slow starter. I'm getting, things ramp up and I start to get going. And this guy's a compete guy, man. Like, and I think Berube knows that. And to challenge him the way that he did, I think it was appropriate. I think it was professional. He didn't call him out. He just said he needs to carry his line. And then following last night's game, he came out again and said
Carried the
William
line.
Nylander carried the line. So I want to get your thoughts on first the approach of Berube, but also Nylander's response. And this was his game. This was the one that he needed.
Well, I mean, every single time, even dating back to when Sheldon Keefe was the coach, every single time there was a moment where the head coach called out William Nylander, he always answers and delivers. And it's not a slight to, and everyone's going to say that, he shouldn't need that extra push from the coach or whatever. But let's face it, some players, like you mentioned, have a slower start. They lose track of focus, and they need the coach to come out and say, we need more from him. And yeah, he was productive. He got some points, but he wasn't constantly involved and being a facilitator like he normally does. In that game against the Detroit Red Wings, he was doing everything possible. He was drawing players in. He was spotting, players trailing in, going and attacking the net, working give and goes. He had a nice assist to both Oliver Ekman-Larsson and had to work to give and go on that goal leading up to John Tavares as well. That is the William Nylander that is driven. That is the one that is driving the offense, getting to the middle and wrecking havoc offensively because he's unpredictable. He can unleash that lethal shot and hurt you offensively, or he can dish the puck out. He's got that vision, and I'm hoping he could at least crack 40, 45 goals again because he has an absolute release. But getting those assists too, creating those plays for everybody else. And I can't remember the last time the Maple Leafs had a massive night from their defenders. They had 2 goals yesterday. I believe they had 5 points overall. And Nylander was involved in 2 of them. So it's like, where's... I think we need to tone it back with Nylander because of the fact that, now he's the top right wing right now. He's still going to be productive. But the way that Berube approached it, he just says, we need more from him. There's nothing wrong with saying you need more from one of your star players. Like that's happening in Buffalo right now. It's happening with other teams across the league. Difference is Nylander, whenever he gets called out, he puts his money where his mouth is and be like, okay, you want me at my best? Well, here's my best. Goal, 2 points or 2 assists. Yeah, it's another empty netter. Yeah, you want to see him score on a goalie, but he had good looks yesterday. And I think it's only a matter of, kind of like Auston Matthews, it's only a matter of time before the 5-on-5 goals kick in, before the power play goals kick in. He is a guy that needs that little push whenever he trails off. And this is a guy that always bounces back. He always finds an answer. And this is the guy that's been one of your clutch playoff performers because in the first 2-3 games against the Florida Panthers, he was literally one of their best forwards. Like, he got the ball going every single time. It's just, obviously, everything fell flat. But Nylander right now, he needs that push. But when he needs it, he delivers. And I think this is going to be the stretch of games where, he's not going to lose focus. And if he does, Berube is going to be there to help him out. Whether it's that practice, on the bench, he's going to be that voice to get the most out of him every single time.
Yeah, imagine having your 2 top goal scorers not score when your power play hasn't clicked because you've got a new power play setup. I mean,
that too, yeah.
Everything seems a little bit connected here, right? Like you ran a power play for the last 10 years through a guy who's no longer there. Things are going to change. People are going to have to adapt. Chemistry's got to be rebuilt. And even if you're playing with the same guys that have been in the room for the last 4 or 5 years, you're still learning how to run that power play through what you've got there. So I think once everything kind of levels out, and I'm going to do something for the hockey writers over the next little while where we look at the Leafs after every 5 games. And I think we're going to see very quickly that, after 10, 15 games, we're talking about a power play that's starting to click a lot better. You've got a shooter on both sides. You've got Nylander, you've got Matthews, you've got JT in front of the net, you've got Nyzy in the bumper, and you've got Morgan Rielly, who's off to a great start after
one of his
a down
best
year.
Starts,
yeah, and we're sitting here complaining about offense. Well, I mean, the fact that you have 3 goals from a Cal Yarncroke, 2 goals from a Bobby McMahon, and goals, like you said, from the back end in Oliver Ekman-Larsson, Jake McCabe. that's got to be considered. I mean, I think we're getting a little petty when we're talking about not having enough offense or production from our team so far.
And yet the last 2 years when the top guys are producing, the complaint is we're not getting enough production from our bottom six in depth.
You know
now
what I mean?
you're
Like,
getting
it's just,
that.
you had 40 shots against the Detroit Red Wings. You should have won that game.
That was
you
a
should have
winnable
won
game.
that game.
I do think Stolar should have had that dying goal, like that dying second goal. He should have had that because then it would have gone to overtime and it could have been a different story. I digress though. But yeah, that was a winnable game.
Absolutely it was. And those are the games that it's gonna suck to lose, but you have to remember that 9 times out of 10 you're gonna win those games.
Mm-hmm.
And the Leafs are gonna figure things out. We're gonna circle back to this conversation down the road and say, remember when we were complaining about the 2 games at the beginning of the season with the Detroit Red Wings? And we're gonna laugh about it. And it's gonna be the same as what the Jays are going through right now, where everyone at the beginning of the year said the Jays suck, fire everybody, restart, revamp. We just signed this guy to a 15-year deal, and now they're in the playoffs and everyone's cheering for them. So if you're complaining about the Leafs right now, I don't want to see you say anything in the playoffs. I don't want to see you cheer for them. I don't want to see you compliment the players. I don't want to see you outside asking for autographs. I don't want to see you near the team, because if you're complaining 4 games into an NHL season, you need to go check yourself right now.
And that's why I always say wait 10, 15 games. But I'm just going to interject about the Jays thing. We did not expect this. We did not expect going from like being a bottom feeder team or being expectations very low to being a top 4 finalist in the whole entire league.
And
this is something to rally around. Yeah.
You've got one of your best hitters, arguably one of the best hitters in the league for average, out of the lineup right now. Not part of your playoff roster, both in the ALDS and ALCS. I mean, like, who would have thunk it? Who would have thunk it?
Yeah.
But anyways, the last thing we want to bring up before we close it out here is there's a lot of speculation right now. There's a lot of frustration just down the QEW to the Buffalo Sabres. Players like Rasmus Dahlin has come out and said how frustrated he is. There needs to be a change. Something needs to happen. Obviously, Tage Thompson is another guy who's come out and said, like, I don't want to talk about what's in the past anymore. I want to focus on what's ahead, and we need to start changing things.
Yeah.
And now there's a lot of speculation that there could be more movement. And one of the things that has been crazy about this team is that they consistently move their best players out of the city. We've talked about Sam Reinhart. We talked about Jack Eichel. We've talked about
Dylan Cousins right now.
Dylan Cousins. Many of players. JJ Paterka is another guy.
Mm-hmm.
Think about those 4 players if you had them in the lineup right now. What you could be doing. Now there's speculation that Tage Thompson could be the next guy out of town, and there has been some ties, albeit maybe just a speculative. Brad Treliving needs to keep his eye on this, that the Leafs could be interested in a guy like Tage Thompson. Your take on the Buffalo Sabres and where they go from here.
Yeah, I actually wrote about it too. And again, there is no immediate movement, but it just seems like the way that things are coming right now. And Elliot Friedman mentioned this on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, where it's getting into, he quote unquote, getting into dangerous territory, essentially, where your 2 top players have come out and said, basically, we want results this year, not next year, not the year after that. They want results this year. So that already shows that the players are giving management a very, very short leash right now, that you need to do what the players are the ones playing the game too, but you got to help us out too, kind of thing. And I get it's tough where, Tage Thompson only has 1 of the 2 goals. Dahlin is one of your top defenders, and he the last few years, he's been fantastic. Same with Tage Thompson too. But if you start to lose one of those 2 guys and they're unhappy and they say, you know what, ship me out, I'm done here. What does that say about the team overall and ownership and management? And I feel bad for the fan base overall too. Like 14 years with this, it's got to come to a tipping point where enough is enough too. And in my post about how the Maple Leafs should keep an eye on Tage Thompson because he is an ideal fit for the Maple Leafs, top 6 wise. One of our fellow writers at the Hockey Writers, Ryan Wammeldorf, said it's basically time for the Sabres to boycott the team. I mean, why not? It's been year after year of frustration, star player leaving for basically little in return right now. And right now, if you were to move on from Dahlin and Thompson right now, you are if you're Kevin Adams, you are probably losing that trade just based on history alone. Like, I know Jack Eichel got a decent return with Peyton Krebs, and I believe it was Alex Tuch as well. I mean, you lost Sam Reinhart, and he's a 2-time Stanley Cup champ. JJ Peterka is already fitting in well with Utah. Dylan Cousins is fitting in well with Ottawa. And you got another, injury-prone center in Josh Norris as well in return for Cousins. What is happening here? There needs to be better decisions. There needs to be a happy medium between the on-ice and off-ice teams, because right now it's just getting very, very ugly, and it's not even like a whole week into the season right now. And if it continues to get worse and the Buffalo Sabres are still at the bottom of the Atlantic, if I'm Toronto, I'm putting my best offer on the table for Tage. I mean, there's no other way around it. Even if they don't go to Tage, if they go for Rasmus Dahlin, if they even go for Alex Tuch, I'm taking one of those 3 guys because I would love to have them on my team, and they play the same style that I think Berube would want.
Can we also go back to when Kevin Adams signed Matthias Samuelsson to a 7-year, $30 million contract, and the guys played in the past 3 seasons? The guy has played just over 100 games. In the last 3 seasons, the guys played just over 100 games.
That alone was bad.
So, I mean, like, I'm all for getting former players in management, but it might be time to look at Kevin Adams and say GM is
maybe
not
he's
the job
definitely
for
the
you
problem
right now.
Yeah.
Like, everything has gone wrong with this team since he took office, and it's just not. Maybe he needs a little bit more. A little bit more training in terms of the role of GM, because right now it's not happening and it's not looking great. It's not looking great. And like you said, I in an ideal world, the idea to boycott the team is fantastic. I mean, the Leafs fans have talked about it so many times. You're never gonna boycott your NHL team. The Sabres fans. This is the one thing I'll say, having gone to a bunch of Sabres games in recent years. Sabres fans are incredible.
Yeah,
they are an incredible fan base, and they 100% deserve so much better than what they're getting over the last 14 years. The fact that they have not seen playoff hockey is an absolute travesty. It's a travesty. So. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, yeah, you'd boycott the team. It's not going to happen. So something's got to change, whether it's getting rid of Kevin Adams. This team has gone through so many coaches in the last 4 or 5 years. There's got to be...
I was about to say, I don't think Lindy Ruff is the answer to.
Absolutely not.
This guy is so out of tune and out of touch right now. It's not even funny. Because with a roster that is constructed like this, with the players that they have and the names that they have, they should not be this bad.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. So, I don't know. It's just it's something's got to change. But yeah, we'll see what happens in Buffalo. If not, it's going to be a complete fire sale, and they're going to be starting from scratch again. You're looking at another 3 to 5 years out of the playoffs,
rebuild,
and hoping to heck that you get some top end picks. But that's just not the case with the lottery anymore. Anybody can get it. So, anyways,
I'm just going to say, how fun would it be if Nyes, Matthews, and Thompson were together, all Arizona line?
Oh, it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing.
That would be fun.
What's
all Arizona line where they could lead the Maple Leafs to a championship?
What's Tage Thompson? What's his contract at right now?
He's 7.14.
7.14, and he's in the third year of a 7-year deal.
Mm-hmm.
Hell, I mean, it wouldn't be
with
a bad
that
idea.
Cap going up.
Yeah.
Just saying.
More of a reason why they moved on from Mitchie, but anyways. We're looking forward to another good week of Leafs hockey. There's going to be a lot more to talk about next week when we get back on the show. You and I have been talking a little bit. We're trying to get a few guests on the show coming up in the next couple of weeks, so we'll see how that plays out. Obviously, big shout out to all Canadians, and hopefully they had a good Thanksgiving weekend.
Yes.
As we close out episode 212 of the podcast. Before we let it go, anything you want to add here, Peter?
Just one more point. It's in our notes too. Our donation for Princess Margaret cancer research is up to $7.50 with that 2-goal performance from Auston Matthews. So we're at $7.50. Again, every goal that Auston Matthews scores this year, $1.50 is going to cancer research. And there's somebody that's been affected by it. So we're doing our part to try and say, or basically, I don't swear, but fuck cancer. We're basically trying to put an end to that right now. And any research or any donation to help with the research is definitely going to go a long way.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. We hope that people want to get involved with us and maybe contribute as well. But if not, we're going to do it anyways. We're up to $7.50. We're looking to make it a big one this year. So Mitch, Austin, keep tucking those empty netters, and we're going to get that total up there. Anyways, until next time, guys, as always, make sure you tune into all the shows at the Hockey Podcast Network. Whatever you can listen to always helps them out. The Hockey Podcast Network is a fantastic group. It's a family. We're part of it. We hope that you tune into other shows on the network. Also, make sure you check out THPN. Use code THPN at DraftKings. Check out SeatGeek in the show description. We've got a promo code for SeatGeek and BioSteel. Get a discount on BioSteel. Until next time, folks, make sure you check out our friend Alex Hobson and his single, 25.